Missouri versus Biden. You are aware of it if you watch this show, but the federal government is evil. The Biden administration they violated everybody's rights, to be frank. But let's just get to Tracy right away about it. Tracy Beanz joins us now, host of the Dark to Light podcast. Tracy, act like I've never heard of it before. What is Missouri versus Biden anyway?
Well, finally, the states of Missouri and Louisiana decided that they were going to join with some private plaintiffs and sue the federal government for coercing the social media companies to censor or change their terms of service and their content moderation policies to remove American speech that they considered wrongthink. So they did that. And when they filed, they asked the judge in Louisiana, Judge Terry Doughty, to impose a temporary injunction that would halt the government from doing that stuff while the rest of the case continued through, arguing that, every day that this is allowed to continue is an ongoing harm to the First Amendment rights of all Americans, including the private plaintiffs who were on the suit as well. So the judge said, yeah, we'll do that, sure. But, you're going to need to prove to me first that they're actually doing this in the first place. So we're going to grant limited discovery where you can subpoena and depose certain people and certain agencies. They, of course, the government, the evil government, as you say, challenged that. They lost. The depositions went on. And from that, we got extensive evidence in this limited discovery of just that. The White House director of digital communications berating Facebook staff, yelling at them to take things down, yelling at them to change their content moderation policies surrounding COVID, the COVID vaccines, the Hunter Biden laptop, and a whole number of other things. So on July 4th, Judge Doughty actually granted this temporary injunction, and the government flipped out. They appealed it to the court above them and said, we need to be able to censor people. What are you doing? And the Fifth Court affirmed it for 4 agencies, which would be the White House, the CDC, the FBI, and the Surgeon General's office. But they left off CISA, which is basically the nerve hub for all of the activity that was going on. So the Missouri and Louisiana came back and said, please add CISA to this, reconsider your decision that you made. The Fifth Circuit did that, added CISA back in. And now we're at the stage where the government has appealed this to the Supreme Court of the United States, the temporary injunction, barring the government from coercing social media companies to censor Americans. The government appealed that to the SCOTUS, saying that, you're encroaching upon our speech rights as the government, our ability to use the bully pulpit to, speak to our constituents in the country and tell them what we think is right, which is a complete misrepresentation. And just on Friday, the Supreme Court decided they were going to hear this case. But the negative is they left this temporary injunction on a stay, which means that it is paused. It does not take effect indefinitely until the Supreme Court can hear the case. And Justices Alito, Thomas, and Gorsuch really, they were opposed to this and wrote a 5-page dissent to the decision that the other justices made. And that's pretty much where we are in 3 minutes.
Okay, no, that was a lot. Now, I couldn't help but notice you only listed the name of 3 Supreme Court justices. What happened to the others? Where's Amy Coney Barrett? What's wrong with these people?
Fantastic question. As a matter of fact, the 3 I listed called them out, said that they made this decision without even taking a look at the record in the case, all of the evidence in emails and all sorts of other evidence that's been put onto the record that 2 lower courts had determined was enough for the injunction and was enough to say that the plaintiffs will likely win based on the merits of the case in and of itself. They didn't even bother to take the time to read it, and it greatly troubled the 3 justices that dissented, enough to write 5 pages on a grant of cert, which is really unheard of at the Supreme Court.
Tracy, what are we looking for next? Along the lines of who is going to rule what, when are they going to rule it? Act like I'm a moron, which shouldn't be difficult for you. What am I supposed to be looking out for?
So what we're waiting for now is to see when the Supreme Court will take the case. From what I hear, Attorney General Andrew Bailey from Missouri has said that the Supreme Court may take this earlier than their spring session. That would be a great thing, because in the interim, the government can tell these social media companies using their bully pulpit again, you're going to do this or we're going to come after you with legislation. You're going to take this what we consider wrongthink down from all these social media platforms, or else we're going to take action against you. So the longer that stay is in place, the longer it's going to take for the government to be reeled back in from what they're doing. Censorship is a massive industry now, Jesse. It is a huge industry. We've got not-for-profits and NGOs and universities all chiming in. Just so happens most of the speech being banned is on the right from conservative-leaning thinkers. But that happens. We'll figure out when that is. And then the case is ongoing. So as all of this is going on the side, the Missouri v. Biden case as a whole is ongoing in the district court. And so the next step would be, subpoenas and depositions in that case. And it'll go on until we get to a jury trial, probably sometime at the middle or end of next year, in my opinion.
Okay, could you elaborate? What kind of consequences would a social media company face from the government if they didn't take down, a story about Hunter Biden doing booger sugar with European hookers?
Well, it was Section 230. It was staff members going in and sitting down. It was the FBI and law enforcement going in and sitting down with the executives at these social media companies, warning them that if they didn't do these things, there would be consequences, documented consequences. Like, it's making the White House very unhappy. Jen Psaki stood at the podium for a press conference and said there are 12 people spreading all this misinformation. If these platforms don't take action, then we're going to have to take a look at what kind of monopoly is going on here and how we can take care of that. So it was just enforcement tactics in intimidation-like ways that are documented in the case. Legislation to stop them from being able to do certain things. We're seeing in California and New York right now, the attorneys general of those two states getting involved in trying to force social media companies to provide their content moderation strategies, the actions they took on certain accounts and for what. And they're making these laws in these liberal states, and people are suing. Elon Musk is suing in California, Rumble sued in New York. So it's going on all over the country. And hopefully this is the beginning of the end for all of this.
My dream, Tracy, is that government people go to prison. That's really what I want. That's what I've always wanted. It's the only way to save this country. A lot of government people have to go to prison for a long time. FBI agents, politicians, a lot of these people. On the back end of this, is there any chance even one government person goes to prison? Just give me one. I'll start with one.
We'll throw some names out there, but no, it's a civil case. Unfortunately, I'm with you. There are a lot of people that need to go to prison, Jesse. Quite a few.
There are a lot of people. Oh. Yeah, Tracy, you're the best. Thank you. Come back soon. Look, this is why it's so important for red states to get more aggressive than they are. This is awesome. This is exposing a very evil federal government. Missouri, of all places, when you ask people the reddest states in the union, they'll tell you, Texas and these other places. But Missouri, they really have been the tip of the spear when it comes to this stuff. State power must be used for our advantage now. That's why you need to get to a red state. That's why you need to start running for office. State legislatures, governors, these these red state AGs, they are our path forward. They are power we can attain and then power we can use. We have precious few institutions left, but we have those. Remember that, all right?